the Ascension Summit 2017. Your all-day access to meet international speakers, authors, and coaches. 20 experts, three continents. 2 days with one goal: elevate your life. Welcome to the Ascension Summit with your host, E.R. Spalding.
Hi, my name is LaRoy Mack, the Safe Money Expert. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I want you to know something. I want you to know the ins and outs when it comes to your financial future. A little bit about myself. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. If anybody knows anything about the west side of Chicago, you learn two things. One, to run, and two, to fight. Because my mother was a strong female and she learned a lot of things growing up. I learned how to fight basically from my mom because, she didn't believe in me coming home with, me getting my butt kicked. So that was not an option. So I learned how to fight and I also learned how to run. But I also learned something from my mom that really sticks with me, but I didn't know until years later. In fact, when I was in my 50s, that's when I found out. My mom used to take us every year to Wisconsin Dells, but I didn't find out that she wouldn't pay rent to make sure that we went every year. I want to make sure that I say thank you to my mom to make that sacrifice. And the reason why I bring that up is because we find out about money through our parents. And if our parents didn't know about it, then we didn't know about it. My mom had me about 15 years old, so we grew up together. And, every day I thank her for the sacrifice she's made for my life and for me to, be the man I am today. And I want to thank her for that. But my life I spent most part of my life, 19 years to 20 years in social services, working with group home kids, DCFS wards. I worked with DCFS wards and I worked with the worst of the worst. My career began in a shelter. So the kids that I worked with, their ages were 0 to 20. So I had a wide variety of kids. The toughest floor that I remember working on was the girls' floor. So can you imagine pre-adolescent boys, teenage girls, and teenage moms on one floor? That was a tough situation. There was always a fight, and I don't know, not to pick on women a little bit, but it seems like they never forget anything. I mean, we were breaking up fights for things that happened 2 years ago, and it was like, like she called me a B 2 years ago. I was like, what are you talking about? But that's, how it is. But I say that because I want you to understand my passion. I want you to know why I do what I do. When I was in that field, we lost several kids. We lost them to death. We lost them to drugs. We lost them to gang violence. We lost kids. And I didn't think we needed to lose any kids if we were proactive and did everything that we could do. But it's a system. But what I learned from those kids is that if you are consistent and you tell the truth and you are there for them, then they can trust you. Because their trust has been abandoned by the people that look like us. The parents, the kid, older adults that they put their trust in. That's who, pretty much what happened, who let them down. The reason why I say the things that I say and I compare my social services to the financial arena where I am now is because it's the same, in my opinion. If I'm telling you or educating you on your money, you want to be able to believe in me. You want to know if I'm telling the truth, and you want to know if I'm going to be there. In this field, so many of us, we don't get the right information. Let me give you an example. Now, all of us, or most of us, have been exposed to a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, a deferred comp. A qualified plan. And basically what a qualified plan is that we have not paid taxes on it. And we are going to pay taxes in the future. But today I wanted to give you some tools. I'm going to give you 5 threats to your retirement. And then I'm going to tell you some of the things that you need to do now to protect your money. Because think about it. If you had a plan in place, would you want to know if it's going to work for you now or later? That's what I'm talking about. I want you to understand that I want you to have the things that you need so that you can be successful. And today I'm talking about, I have a lot of rules, but I'm going to just give you 5 threats to your retirement. And when I say 5 threats to your retirement, it's basically, I want you to know the things that's going to take away from you being financially successful. That's just the bottom line. I need you and I want you to know. And that passion comes from working with kids and losing kids and helping families. And, because when I sit down with people, sometimes there's tears in the room. Sometimes they cry, and I cry too, because everything that they've been working for was a lie. Everything that they believed was a lie. So the reason why we have to get the right information is so that we can do better. Because if we know better, I think that we can do better. And I want you to understand this concept. It is not what you make, it is what you keep. It is not what you make, it is what you keep. So my first threat that I want to discuss is taxes. Taxes in your retirement will eat up the majority of your retirement if we don't plan for them. That's why when you have a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, a deferred comp, a IRA, a qualified plan, you really have to understand what that is. So let me break it down. The Safe Money Expert is going to break it down. LaRoy Mack, that is my name, and my title is Safe Money Expert, because you never ever lose money with us. So the number 1 threat is taxes. So let me dive into that. If you was taxed on the $200 or the $300 that you put aside, or even the $100 that you put aside, that would be a little bit of money. It's like being a farmer. If you are a farmer, would you want to pay taxes on your harvest or your seed? Most likely you would want to be taxed on your seed because your seed is smaller. That's why the government does not tax you right away. You think it's because they care about you and they love you and we want everybody to be successful and kumbaya. That's not true. The reason why they tax your harvest is because you don't have enough money to help them pay their bills. If I tax you now, every year, on the few dollars that you put in, and if the market goes up, that is a small amount of money. The government is at a $28 trillion deficit. A $28 trillion deficit. What that means is, just to help you understand how big 1 trillion is. If we was to give you $1 million every day since Jesus was born, you would not have a trillion. As I was saying, $1 trillion is a huge number. And the government is at 28 trillion. And that's because they is really bigger. But they didn't expose everything that they were actually doing. They did not let us know that it's a trillion. Now, to help you understand more, the reason why the government is not taxing you until your money is grown is because they have to pay their bills. And I want you to think and understand. I don't want you to believe that I'm just telling you something. I want you to think. I want you to gain the knowledge, the wisdom. Because if we understand, if we have the knowledge, and then we turn that into action, that becomes wisdom. So think about it. The government has set up a plan. Millions and millions of people have this plan. They don't tax you until you need the money the most. So at 65, 67, 68, 70, when you retire, that is when they tax you. So let me ask you another very important question. Do you believe taxes are going to go up in the future? If you said yes, you are 100% correct. And it's because we owe $28 trillion. Again, if I gave you $1 million every day since Jesus was born, you would not have $1 trillion. That's why this information is so very, very important. It's important that we have it so that we can keep what we make. So once again, the government is going to tax you when you need the money the most. I know they told us, hey, when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket because you're going to make less. Unfortunately, that's not true. Ask some of the people and the seniors that are struggling. Ask the ones that had to go back to Walmart and work so that they can have some food in their cupboard. Ask those people. Taxes did not get lower for them. And the bottom line is taxes are going to go high. So what happens to your money? Now you're paying taxes even higher. Then think about it, 40% is where we are now. So let's say it didn't change. Let's say it doesn't go up. Are you willing to give 35, 40, 28, 30% of your money away after you worked for 20, 30, 40 years to build? That's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. Now, I want you to understand. Unfortunately, it gets worse. So, what do you mean, Mr. Mack? It gets worse. I want to educate you on RMDs. RMDs stand for Required Minimum Distribution. What that means is that when you turn 70 and a half, the government is going to send you a letter and say, you owe this much. You have to spend this much. So when I saw this and when I got educated on it, it hurt my feelings, because here is a situation where I am building something. And now that I'm 70 and a half, you are going to make it mandatory for me to spend more money? I can't save it and not spend because I don't need it, but I got to give it to my, because I want to give it to my kids. But no. And guess what? If you do not spend this money, it is a 50% penalty. 50%. So another thing that bothered me, at 70 and a half, this starts. But if I have qualified money, meaning a 401k, 403b, TSP, deferred comp, if I have this money, guess what? It lasts forever. If I live to be 98 years old or 102, and there's money left over in that plan, in a 401k, 403b, TSP, deferred comp, IRA, if I have money left over in this plan, I am going to pay this money. I have to write a check. I have to spend this money forever. So I want you to think back. All of the things that I've been building is now going to be taxed when I retire. I have the fees. I have all those other concerns. But now, for the rest of my life, the money that I wanted my loved ones to have, if I don't spend it, it's a 50% penalty. And this is what I'm talking about, people. What we don't know will hurt us. There's two tax systems, one for the informed and one for the uninformed. And if you are uninformed, you are going to pay more in taxes. Bottom line. So, taxes, number one threat. Now I want to talk to you about fees. I want you to understand that those plans that we just talked about have hidden fees. This means that we never ever talked about the fees. No one ever told us about the fees. They may have said, hey, you know what, you got a couple fees or whatever, but let me break this down for you. Let me help you understand what's actually happening. If the fees are as high as 4 to 5%, which they most likely are, based on the Forbes report, for mutual funds and stocks and 401ks, the fees can be as high as 4 to 5%. So guess what? You're paying 4 to 5% on the little money that you put in, but you're also paying 4 to 5% on the money when it's large. So 30 years from now, I have grown my account to $300,000. Now I'm paying 4 to 5% on 300,000 versus 30,000. The fee never stops. And let me help you understand again what I'm talking about. So, say for instance, I did everything I was supposed to do. You know, I paid the fees, and in 2008, the market crashed by 40%. Did anybody call you and say, hey, I noticed you're losing money? Did anybody call you and say any of that? Did anybody call you and say, hey, you know what, you're losing money, let's move this around here, let's do this, let's do that? You know, did you get a call if you have a 401k? I'm betting you that you didn't get a call. And when you call, they told you, hey, don't worry, John, it's going to come back. That's the only thing they told you. And you paid them 4 to 5% for that information. You paid them. Well, here's the secret. They're going to get their 4 to 5% if you make money or lose money. And they don't have to call you. Can you imagine? I'm paying a fee to get support on my plan, and I get none, but I still pay the fee. And can you imagine how they felt when they lost 50% of their portfolio and still had to pay 4 to 5%? Come on, guys. We need to know what's happening. Number 3, if you do not plan, then you plan to fail. That's just the bottom line. You have to put a plan in place. You have to put a plan in place so that you can be more successful. That's how it works. Now, I want you to understand, you got to set up something. Even if you don't talk to me, talk to someone. And I'm sorry, don't go to a banker and expect good information. We've been trained to go to banks to get good information. However, it does not work. It does not work because the people that's sitting on the other side of the desk are tellers, and they're also salesmen, and they're also told what to sell. Think about it. How are you going to promote that my CD is paying 0.1% and I'm bragging? Or I got a 1% return on my 5-year CD. So you lock your money up for 5 years to get 1%. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. You get a 1099 on the 1% that you thought you earned. So what did you make? Nothing. A young lady came to me, 60 years old, with $150,000. She was in the bank for 4 years. 4 years on $150,000 in her credit union. So you had a CD IRA, $150,000. 4 years later, she made $28. That's $7 a year on $150,000. That's the kind of information you want. This is what you're going to get. The next thread I want you to understand is probate. There's simple ways to avoid probate, but probate, and I'm breaking it down for you, probate is designed to pay the judges and the attorneys. Let me say that again. Probate is designed to pay the attorneys and the judges. Why do you think it lasts anywhere from 3 to 4 years? Do you think because, they're really trying to do the best for you? No, because the longer you drag it out, the more money they are going to get paid. We have to have the right information. Now, some of the plans that we have, definitely most of the plans that we have set up properly will avoid probate. Please get the information. Make sure that you're set up. A lot of people pass away with money in the bank, but they have no beneficiary to their accounts. So the loved ones, just sitting there trying to bury you or trying to take care of things, they can't even asset the money. They can't access the money because the primary beneficiaries was not set up correctly. Get the information. This is why it's so important that you seek me out, that you sit down with the free consultations that we ask and learn how to change your financial future. This money and everything that you build is for your loved ones. It's for your legacy, or it's for you. But one wrong mistake, you can lose the majority of it. The other plan that I want you to know about and understand is risk. Every single day that you have a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, deferred comp, a Roth IRA, a IRA, every day you're exposed to risk. But if you're older, if you're in your 50s or 60s, you can't afford to have a 30 to 40 to 60% loss. And I want you to understand that. And I know that some of you are sitting back and waiting because you don't know what to do. The bottom line is you have to do something different. So I want you to call me at 708-205-5110. 708-205-5110. That is my personal cell phone number. Also, you can reach me in my office number at 708-794-8700. The last thing that I want you to know is your account is at risk. And I want to show you how to avoid risk. I want to show you that you can have an income for life without losing $1. I want to show you that you can make 10% on your money and never lose $1. If you have $100,000 and I made you $10,000 in a week and you never lost any of that money, would you think that would be valuable for you? Let me say that again. If you had $100,000 and I made you $10,000 within 1 week and you could never lose the money that you made, do you think that would be valuable? I think it would be. And I want you to understand, and I want you to know that we can do these things. Every single day that you have a plan that you are losing money, it is not the right plan in my opinion, because you don't have to lose money. Some of you that want to risk, that's fine. But the majority of the people that I talk to do not want to risk their money. And let me show you that you never have to risk your money again. Let me show you how to make your money work for you where you never, ever lose. Because this is important. Every day, and especially ones who have old 401ks that's sitting there, your money is at risk. Your money is at risk. Even if you don't contribute to it, it's at risk. Now that we know about the risks. And now that we know about the 5 things that's going to prevent us from having a great retirement, let me give you a few tips. I have several, but today, because of time, I'm going to give you at least 2. Number 1 thing I want you to understand is that in order to accumulate wealth, you have to pay yourself first. You have to pay yourself first. If you make $10 an hour, your first $10 every day goes to you. That's $50 a week, $200 a month. Are you surprised how fast it adds up? It does. But you have to pay yourself first. There is no more excuses. No one deserves your pay more than you. Because when you think about it, if you don't pay yourself first, you run into problems. You know, I had a client a while ago. She called me several years ago, and she had a payday loan. It was a title loan. So I thought the interest wasn't that bad, but it was through the payday loan system. When I called the company and I found out that she was paying 400% in interest, I almost fell off my chair. I was angry. I wanted to call everybody and say, what are they doing? This is illegal. I don't think the mob charges 400%. But when I did the research, I found out that payday loans in 2007 and 8 was the fastest growing company, because that's when millionaires are made, when there's a supply and demand, and people demanded money. But think about it. If you were paying yourself your first hour, you wouldn't have needed to borrow $3,000, $4,000, because you would have had it. That's what I'm saying. So the number 1 thing that I want you to learn right now is to pay yourself first. I want you to pay yourself first. The other thing that I want you to know is I want you to understand your plan. I want you to call them and I want you to ask for them to send you information on your plan, your 401k plan. I want you to know it. And the most important thing is, when you have a 401k plan, and I expose this and I let people know, they don't want you to touch this money because it's not for you, it's for the government. That's why there's so many rules. Did you know that if you wasn't 59 and a half and you touched your money, it's a 30% penalty? What about the house that you wanted? What about the emergency that you had to take this money? So not only are you taking your own money, let me say it again, your own money, you're going to pay 30% in fees. So the tips that I want you to know is I want you to always pay yourself first. On the list of bills that you have, you are number 1. Say it with me. You are number 1. You are the number 1 list bill on your bill list. You are number 1. You pay yourself first. Number 2, find out the information. Ask your plan. Tell me when I can move my money, how I can move my money. Let them know. I will show you. So I need you to call me at 708-794-8700. 708-794-8700. Or email me at Mack, MACK3434 at Comcast.net, so that I can help you put your money or move your money where you won't lose $1. And if you have $20,000 or more, I'm guaranteeing you a 10% return without any risk. Guaranteed, no matter what the market does. Example, $100,000, $50,000. If you want to make $5,000 or $10,000 on your money, or if you have $1 million, I can make you $100,000 in 1 week and never lose any money. Everything we do is documented and guaranteed. God bless. See you soon.
Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more exciting insights, strategies, and tools to elevate your life.